is too many. We put great emphasis on this, but we know that when we use drugs in any form, substitute one for another, release our addiction all over again. Thinking of alcohol thinking of alcohol is different from other drugs has caused a great many addicts to relapse. Before we came to NA, many of us viewed alcohol separately, but we cannot afford to be confused about this. Alcohol is a drug. We are people with the disease of addiction who must abstain from all drugs in order to.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks for reading.
My name's Amber and I'm recovering.
Hey, Amber.
I was honestly just sitting here. I didn't know if he was gonna be like, and I asked somebody to read 12 traditions, so sorry, I was just meeting sitting mode. The 12 traditions of NA, we keep both sides.
Just the front.
The front. The 12 traditions of NA, we keep what we have only with vigilance, and just as freedom for the individual comes from the 12 steps, so freedom for the group springs from our traditions. As long as the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that would tear us apart, all will be well. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority. A loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. 4, each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. 6, an NA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the NA name to any related facility or outside enterprise. Less problems of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, NA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the NA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thanks, Amber.
Thanks for reading.
Thanks, Amber, Mary, for reading. Our scheduled speakers for this workshop today are two people I have no idea who they are. I give you Kim N and Parrish J.
Hey, that's after. Yeah. I'm Kim. I'm an addict.
Hey, Kim.
Parrish let me speak first because I get so nervous and I just want to get it out of the way. And I used to hate that I got so nervous, but I realized, this is a program that saved my life. And I know that there's many times had I not heard what I needed to hear, I might not be sitting in this chair today. So, welcome. If you're a newcomer, you're the very most important person here. I hope that you hear something that helps you along this path. Also, in case I don't say it or it's, you haven't heard it yet, this is a spiritual, not religious program. If you've got a problem with the word, for me, my higher power is God, but if you've got a problem with that or the higher power concept, I've seen a lot of people recover from many different ways of thinking. And every person's path is so completely different. Mine looks so different from, all my other people in my network and people that I'm recovering with. So just keep coming back. Higher power it can be the rooms, it could be your, your home group. If you don't quite have a connection with a higher power, a lot of people encourage you to call 3 different people. If you have something big going on, and if 3 different people give you the same advice, that's probably good advice. 3 different people that are clean in the program. So I spoke about higher powerness at a little girl grows up when I had not a whole lot of time clean. Well, a couple years, but I also didn't have all the steps completed. So today I was going to talk about it more, a little bit about when I first got here, but more about too, like the process through the steps, because this is a 12-step program. For me, yes, my network and being around people in the rooms that are living a different life and doing the next right thing has been a huge thing for me. But, all of my big changes have happened through the steps, and, every one of them was only possible because of the relationship with my higher power. So I try to read something from our literature before I speak. One, it just helps knock the nerves down. But two, even if what I say is like trash, you hear something that's good. If you don't have our literature, please see me, I'll get you some. It's, this is our story written about our lives. So I'm talking from It Works How and Why, and I was kind of felt called to talk about it from step 2. Like, when I got here, I had been out in the streets for about 25 years. And, there was periods of normalcy. There was periods of things being good. But I will say, not by good, I mean decent. But I will say the last 6 years were just awful. I couldn't keep a place to live. I kept, losing jobs. I kept losing relationships. I kept isolating myself further and further. By the end of that, the last 6 months was just unbearable. I was living in my car. I remember when I came in, I was just so shot out. I had went from being like a 3.9 in the College of Business, graduated second out of, a couple thousand, I guess, I don't know. And couldn't read a sentence. I couldn't speak, and all I did was cry for 3 months. So when you talk about like step 2, restoring you to sanity, I can say like that's happening. I can't say it happened. I've got a lot of work to do. I thought really early on just being able to speak again and talk without crying and read and comprehend was like a great restoration to sanity, but there's been levels of that for me. I can say my fiance is really grateful I'm still working on it. And this is, again, my higher power I call God, but this is a God thing in and of itself, that a girl that came in off the streets and had, they say that we're as mature as when we stopped using drugs. And for me, that was 13 years old. And I came in here like a child. And I had no way to have a good relationship with anybody. I was absolutely psychotic. I would fight all the time, like the minute I didn't get my way. And just to think, I've got a fiance now who's chairing the meeting. And that's a God thing, that I can even have a healthy relationship. And then it's so wild that I'm doing this topic with Parrish. We met him at Chill Out on the Chill Alley a couple years ago. And it's just like, man, for me, my higher power just shows up again and again. It's just such a beautiful process. But step 2, and it works how and why, regardless of our individual interpretation of the term restoration, most of us agree that for us, it means changing to a point where addiction and its accompanying insanity are not controlling our lives. Being restored to sanity is a lifelong process. Boy, is that true. Individually, we experience it differently at varying stages of our recovery, but we can all see some results of this process right from the beginning of our recovery. Initially, being restored to sanity means that we no longer have to use drugs. We go to meetings rather than isolating. We call our sponsor rather than sitting alone with painful feelings. We ask for our sponsor's guidance and working the steps, a real demonstration of sanity. We begin to believe that a powerful force can restore us to sanity. At long last, we feel hope for ourselves. We came to believe implies a process. For some, this process is simple and it may bring immediate results. Many of us arrived in AA so completely defeated that we were willing to try anything. Seeking help from a power greater than ourselves may have been the best idea we had ever heard. However, the process of coming to believe can be a difficult one, even painful. Many of us have found that if acting as if we believe is helpful, this does not mean we should be dishonest. Rather, it means that if we have doubts, we practice the program as if we believe we can be restored to sanity. Belief in a power greater than ourselves does not come easily to all of us. However, we have found an open mind is indispensable when we approach this step. If we look around us, we find many reasons to believe. Our belief may simply be that we can recover from a life of active addiction. The freedom from obsession to use may be our first experience of a power greater than ourselves at work in our lives. Perhaps the first time in many years, our obsession with drugs no longer controls our every waking moment. Knowing that we don't have to use today is a powerful belief in and of itself. We start to develop faith through the process of coming to believe. It starts with hope. For some of us, this may be only a faint spark at first, perhaps just the thought that maybe if we work this program, our lives will get better. Our hope turns to faith as our life begins to improve. For many of us, faith can be described as a belief in something intangible. After all, who can logically explain the sudden lifting of an obsession to use drugs? Yet this has happened for many people. With our hope for a different life and the beginning of our faith that recovery is possible, we start the process of coming to believe in a power greater than ourselves. And when I read this yesterday, like I love when I speak because I take another additional deep dive into the literature every time and look for something that speaks to me at that point to talk about. And this couldn't be more true for me. A little bit of my personal story is I grew up in a religious household. I remember, as a young kid, my grandfather, I was wearing short shorts and he was like, "You're going to go to hell for wearing those shorts." And I was like 4 and I was like, "No, they're going to go to hell for looking." Because I was just a pill from the get-go. But, I grew up, I've always heard that for most people that God is what their father is like. And I don't know if that's true or not, but for me, once I got to NA, I realized he was scary and he was judgmental in my mind. And that's not the truth of what I've come to develop. I think the first relationship that I developed in NA, besides my sponsorship, was my relationship with my higher power, where I literally, it talks about coming in and just being completely destroyed. So that for the first time, that idea that something can help you can take root. And that's what happened for me. I know when I was about 30, I think, my best friend died in a car accident, a really tragic accident. And I went on a bender, a really bad one. And then, I was mad at God for 10 years. And that didn't go away overnight. Coming to NA, I was really exhausted. I was really tired. I've been living out of my car for a long time. I hadn't ate much. I had slept every 2 or 3 days for like 9 months, and 45 minutes every 2 or 3 days for like 9 months. And, I'm so grateful for that now, because I was finally willing to let go of control and let something bigger than myself come in. And you guys led me through the ability to do that. So some of that looks like, when I first got here, somebody that had a lot of time that's passed since then talked to me about having a foundation for my day. And it was really simple. It was like, make your bed, have some breakfast, take a brisk walk, pray, read the just for today. It could happen in any order, but that's something that I started doing. I felt so lost after having a lifetime of just running and working and trying to keep my head above the fray. I came in here and I was like not working, and I was crazy. And, having that little bit of foundation for my day was something that got me on the right path early in the morning. And, 6.5 years later, that's still what I do today. And I'm grateful for that, because if I get to work and I haven't done that, I don't feel right. So, when I'm happy to say, when I got here, for me, the higher power thing felt like it was an immediate connection. I'm so strange. At the end of my run, I saw a lot of numbers that coincide. I'm a big angel number person, and I'd always been my whole life. And so 1111 is that you're in the flow. And I just kept getting 555, and 555 is change. And I made the biggest change in my life. I made a geographical change that actually worked for me. I left Oklahoma and came to Georgia. And when I say I was shot out, it took me 3 days to find the state of Georgia in my car. Couldn't find it. Could not find it. I would drive for a little bit. I didn't have a phone with service because I couldn't keep a phone with service anymore. But if you were in a Walmart parking lot, you're connected to their Wi-Fi, you could map your way someplace. And so I would map my way to Georgia. And then 3 or 4 hours would pass, and I was on this country road, and I was like, what the hell? Where am I at? I would find a Walmart. I would take a nap. I would get up and map my way again. It took me 3 days to drive 12 hours, 14 hours. Couldn't find the state of Georgia. That's how shot out I was. And, I remember when I first started seeing the fives, I was like, I'm gonna win the lotto. It wasn't that. It was not that. It was that I was going to make the biggest change I've ever made in my life. But when I showed up here, my higher power was with me and cheering me on. And I'm grateful for that. I know a lot of people that people come to me now and they're like, I'm having trouble connecting with God. And I try to help them by telling them my experience, strength, and hope, because that's all I can do, you know. And it's funny because I've even had a couple of sponsees that don't have a way to talk with their higher power, and they start getting the numbers too, and they start getting the red birds, and they start, because, you know, it's been my belief, this is just my belief, it's my belief that after I completely surrendered and gave my will to him, that he wants to have a way to talk to me, and he starts showing up, and I've got to be willing to look for that and willing to work on and nurture the relationship, so that I can receive that information and make sense out of it. I know when I've had about 5 months clean, one of my second sponsor and a very dear friend of mine still, we both were like, we needed to make a move. This is kind of an example how God works in my life. We need to make a move. I had been 5 months without work. I'll say, if you're an early recovery man, enjoy that time. I thought I had to get back to making money. I would give anything to sit on my couch and color again and look for red birds. Like, I am so busy 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. I'm gone, I'm running. But anyways, I wanted to get back into work, and a dear friend of mine was like, we're going to go tomorrow and take an action. And I used to be like, I never got that part either. I'm starting to understand it with some time clean. Like, what do I do? He does something, I do something. Like, what are you talking about? So she was like, take an action and then he'll show up. And we went to, I'm in the automotive industry and I have been for 20 years. And I went to a dealership and applied, and I felt good about it, and I had time. So I went to a second one. And then, you know, I was low on faith. I was just like, well, I'm alive and I'm not sure. I've fucked up everything I've had and I've lost everything. I mean, what came with me is what could fit in a Mazda 3. And then I got here and there's a bunch of other people's shit. I was like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Like, that's not even my bro. What the fuck? But you know, I for 3 days, everywhere I looked, I work at a place called Hardy. For 3 days, everywhere I looked, I saw Hardy, bumper stickers, Hardy, license plates, Hardy this, Hardy that, poster boards. And I didn't see any for the other dealership I'd applied for. And I went to a Sunday night 5 and dime, and I was like, man, I tell you what, I did this, we did this thing. And for 3 days, I've seen this, you know, this word. And I think that's what they're pointing me to. And I was driving home that night and I said, God, if I'm hearing you right, I think you're saying Hardy. And I look up at that moment and I passed Hardy Circle, a street sign that said Hardy Circle. And let me tell you, I went after them. They didn't know what hit them. They just hired me because they were like, you're crazy and you wouldn't go away. Which, I mean, I get that. But you know, that's the first thing. And so I love what I've done with my faith today, because I'll tell you, I gave little things at first, like, let me just get through today without killing somebody, which might sound, you know, I mean, that's kind of big, but you know, I gave little things at first, and it was so amazing to me. It still amazes me. I love this part of the process. Like, literally, when I can get out of the way and stay out of the way, the God solution is always like better than I could have ever imagined or orchestrated. And it's good for every person involved. It's their highest best. Unlike Kim, the addict, that used to be like, well, I'm going to probably take your job, and, you know, sorry about your luck. Hope you and your kids are fine. That was me in an active addiction. I was cutthroat. Like, literally, since I got clean, I was promoted and took somebody else's job, but her son was having some mental problems, and she decided to stay home and be a full-time mom, you know. And like it's just amazing to me. Like, when I get out of the way and I give my higher power the opportunity to work in my life, like, he's all about everyone's highest good. I've got a friend that says, if it's not good, God's not done. And I love that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the steps. You know, step 2 was a restoration to sanity. And if you're here early enough, you heard about some of that. But for me, like, my only way through this process has been involving my higher power in everything that I do. And in our big step working guide, the green and gold, I was working a step with a sponsee lately, and I took a picture of this because I knew this topic was coming up. It's in step 7. It says, our work in the previous steps has helped us build a relationship with the God of our own understanding. That work will pay off in a big way as we proceed with step 7. In step 2, we first began to think about a higher power that could help us find recovery from our addiction. From there, we went on to make our 3rd step decision to trust our higher power with the care of our will in our lives. We called upon that power many times to get us through step 4. And then the 5th step shared with that power the most intimate details of our lives. In step 6, we discovered that the God of our understanding can do more for us than just keep us clean. I love that because, you know, sometimes I'll lose sight. I think my favorite part of each step in the step working guide is the spiritual principles, you know, that you learn through it. But I liked that synopsis of, you know, how God works with us through each step. And, you know, that's something too. It's like, you know, if you're new, you know, it's been my belief and my experience that God will remove the desire to use. And that's such an amazing miracle. But for me, it doesn't have to stop there, or that my experience has been that. You know, this job that I've got where, you know, I used to quit every 2 years. I would decide that I knew more than my owners did, and fuck you, and I'd burn the bridge. And, you know, there was a day where I was just like, you know what, if I don't sit down and shut up, I'm gonna lose my job today. I cried on a truck bed for 3 hours and I asked God to get in there. And the only reason I made it and got the couple of promotions I have since then is because I got out of the way, you know. And for me, it can happen with your health too. Like when I got here, you know, I definitely, they say you put down the spoon and pick up the fork or whatever. I did that. I went from 145 to 235. Well, 235 is when I quit weighing. But it wasn't just that. It wasn't a material thing. I swear to God, for 2 years, all I worried about was staying clean. I didn't care, but chocolate was my dope. And we're talking about 3 family-sized bags of chocolate a day, like wanting to just vomit it, like up to your eyeballs in it, like so dead inside because I was trying to fill this void that I couldn't get drugs to fill. And I just wasn't content enough with any piece of my life. And, you know, just like with the desire to use drugs, I just said, look, I'm slowly killing myself a different way. And I'm feeling suicidal as shit because of this. Like, please, God, help me. And he did, you know what I mean? I'm trying to check and see what time it is. But anyways, so you know, and I liked what it said about how this is a lifelong process. You know, because you can take some steps back, or that's been my experience. I'm gonna tell y'all, COVID about killed me. It about killed me. I have, you know, a family that, you know, I didn't really understand the dynamics of till I went to some trauma counseling. But, you know, I had been the black sheep of the family, had been rejected for years. And then I got this, when I got clean, everybody loved me. Like everybody loved me and they're like, yeah, great job. You know, and I had this acceptance for the first time. And COVID came along and we really disagreed. I wasn't going to stay clean if I didn't go to meetings. I was not going to stay clean if I didn't stay out of my house. I'm so grateful for our area because we kept parks. We were going to meetings at parks. We didn't care if the church closed. Don't give a shit. We kept having, you know, 40 people in my living room. You know what? Because I'm a lot more scared of drugs and the shit I do out there than that. And to each their own, I'm just saying what I needed. And my family like completely rejected me. And, you know, I had moved in with them to get clean, and my niece had 2 babies. So we're talking like about a 4 and a 3-year-old that I've been in their house with them every day of their life. And I couldn't see him, and I was devastated, and I was so alone. I lived by myself. I did have a roommate at the time, but she worked nights and I worked days, so we didn't see each other. And, you know, I can just tell you like this, I've heard it said a couple of times this weekend. I just love it that this is people's medicine. And I've never looked at it that way, but this is a sickness and this is my medicine for it. And for about a month and a half, I set out because I was kind of scared too. And I was just I was unable to accept what was happening. There was no acceptance happening. And I ended up getting really fucking crazy really quick. Really crazy. Like there was a night that I thought it would be a good idea if I slit my wrist and wrote "From Graves into Gardens" on my wall, because you guys would know I was okay. What? That's never okay. It's not okay. Just so you know, if you ever get that thought, call me, because it's not okay. And you know, it's like, but something stopped me that night, like every other time. And but you know, like for a little bit, my faith was a little rattled. I was like, how can all this be happening? you know, I've done the next right thing for 6.5 years, period. Like if I owe an amends, you get it. And I'm really trying to be the best person I could be. And how could this be happening to me? And, you know, in hindsight, I'm so grateful for it because I persevered. I didn't off myself, like, and I've met this whole group of people that I'm so close with. They're all in recovery. And had I been spending 3 nights a week with the babies, I would have never met them, you know, and I met the love of my life. I have never been able to have a healthy relationship. He's trying to help me. I'm a fucking nut job. Really. But you know, I'm trying. And that's another thing. It's like, I got through 6 and 7. I was like, yes, I can get in a relationship now. I didn't see anybody for 3.5 years, I think 4.5 years. And I was like, I know me, I can get in a relationship. Let me tell you something. Hair blown back, I didn't know shit. Like that level of vulnerability and that level of what you need to do to make it work is a whole nother level. And we're on another ride now. But you know, like, so it's kind of, you know, the faith journey for me has been like this. You know, I still have, you know, one of my character defects is self-pity. So of course, when things don't go well, then I'm like, you know, why aren't they going well for me? You know what I mean? And the reality is it takes hindsight to see that I've met the love of my life and I've got the most amazing life in the world, and have my brother not completely rejected me, that probably wouldn't have happened for me. And it definitely wouldn't have happened in the magnitude that it has. And we've just become like this great group of friends. You know, like our home is a place we have game night and there'll be 50 of us in there having a wonderful time, just recovering and staying clean. You know, my biggest goal, I came into this thinking that I'd never have fun again. But I was at 39 years old, I was so fucking tired. I didn't care if I ever saw another minute of fun. By the time I got in here, I was like, I'm done. I was exhausted. But let me tell you something. The fun that we have now is just beyond my wildest dreams. So if you're new, please know, like, I get it. I used to get nervous going bowling or going camping. I was like, why are we not? What do we do in the woods if we're not fucked up? What is wrong with y'all? You know, but, you know, stay in and just keep coming back, like getting around a healthy group of people that want to do this thing, man. You know, I can't say I would have, you know, God's been a huge part of my life. My relationship with my higher power to work on every day is huge, but I also can't do it without the steps. I can't do it without my network. I can't do it without my sponsor, who's just an amazing badass. She saves my life every day, and I couldn't do it without all the people in my life I love so dearly. Let's see. That might be it. I'm sorry if I didn't talk long enough. I tend to shut up when God's done talking because I'm full of shit. So anyways, but I wanted to read something else. So, you know, we talked about coming in here and just being destitute and being open-minded. You know, it's so funny to watch the evolution of things, because I've ended up really right back where I started as a young child, but with a totally different view of my higher power. And so, you know, again, if you're new, like, just erase away everything you've ever thought of a higher power and let something new come in. And mine has shifted. It's went from crystals to meditation to weird classes to like whatever. I ended up back full circle where I was, you know, as a young child, on a personal level. But you know, just letting your higher power be a loving, caring, kind, compassionate force in your life, because that's really what it is. I mean, that's, you know, I look around during COVID and stuff, and I just felt like a lot of people really struggled, and I'm really sorry if that's you. I will say my experience was that the people that were doing the right thing and keeping their side of the street clean, like, were blessed beyond belief. I mean, really, like, all of us were thriving and living this thing. But that's our choice every day. Like, we can get up and we can choose to live in faith and joy, and that everything's a miracle, or that it's dark and things are shit and that nothing is. Like, and I can tell you, like, it's a lot funner and brighter life for me when I get to live like it's all a miracle. And I just, you know, I see people that are normies and I feel bad because they don't have the ability to do the things that we do. And it breaks my heart for them. And I have to remember that. Like I had a lot of pain over being disowned by my family. I had a lot of anger at my brother. And then I really, this was a God moment. I really realized one day that's who I was when I was using. And the difference is I found some help. He doesn't have the help he needs. And you know what? I'm grateful that I got to see that because I can forgive him. And I needed to forgive him for me because it was killing me. It was killing me. But this is, and it works home why step 11, which, oh my God, step 11 and 12 were just so amazing for me. We've begun to see that God's will for us is the ability to live with dignity, to love ourselves and others, to laugh, and to find great joy and beauty in our surroundings. Our most heartfelt longings and dreams for our lives are coming true. These priceless gifts are no longer beyond our reach. They are, in fact, that very essence of God's will for us. That's amazing in and of itself. I wish I'd have read that when I first got here. You know what I mean? I mean, years I was chasing, what is God's will? What's defined right here? And it's pretty good and positive, and you don't have to think that hard about it. Anyways, that is on page 112 if you want to look it up later. In our gratitude, we go beyond merely asking for the power to live up to God's plan for our own lives. We begin to seek out ways to be of service, to make a difference in the life of another addict, to carry the message of recovery. Our spiritual awakening has opened us to spiritual contentment, unconditional love, and personal freedom. I'm chamomile.
I'm gonna do this, get this out of the way. You gotta give me a hug.
Yes, get into it.
Y'all feel that? It's what you get when you listen to your higher power. Told me to do that. I'm paradigmatic.
Hey, Parrish.
Thank you, my higher power, and thanks to the committee for asking me to come down here and do this. It is a spiritual, not religious program. She's gonna be a hard one to follow, y'all. Cool thing is I don't have to follow that.
That's right.
God's gonna give me what to say. I made a decision, y'all, to stop using dope one day and to be a part of something that is bigger than I ever imagined. In my home group, I tell people this is a worldwide fellowship. And when we give out those key tags, they're in English here in America. They're in different languages all around the world. I have had the privilege of picking up those key tags in different languages. That's what this program in Narcotics Anonymous has gave me. My clean date is 12/1/05.
That's right.
Y'all are clapping because y'all got another day today when y'all got my ass here. Y'all see me here because it's a miracle. If you would have only known me before. I don't have to go back there, but I will tell you, just so you can identify, my drug of choice was yours, mine, and more.
That's right.
That's all I have to say. I fit in Narcotics Anonymous when I didn't think I fit in when I came here. Y'all had showed me a better way to live just by watching you. I didn't want what y'all had. I was going to go back and do what I do what we do. But I made a choice to stick and stay, even when the motivation was there, because there was people that were saying, he ain't gonna be here long. He's gonna be one of them that's gone. I was like, oh, shoot, whatever it takes for you to stay, just stay. No, you never have to leave. The program in Narcotics Anonymous gives us a life without drugs. It also tells us the message is that an addict, any addict, can lose the desire to use, stop using, even in that part, and find a whole new way to live. I'm that addict that found that new way to live because of everybody in this room and those that I've sat with in rooms before this time right here that has helped me get another day. I'm thankful today that I can sit here and tell you that there is a higher power that brought me to these rooms and helped me figure out just who he was and loved me through it all, even when I was unlovable and I did not want to be nowhere around him because I was going to do things my way. That was me. And that's a big story, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to tell you how I've stayed in the last 8 months and a few days, because that's what's been the most impactful thing in my life. In the last year, I've lost 11 people, and that's a lot to lose when you've lost your wife, and brothers and sisters, and I say sisters, one sister, 2 brothers, and many friends in Narcotics Anonymous. And they were all dear to me. And that's like you've took something away from me. Do I blame God? No, I do not blame God today, because I love him today, because I found him before all this happened. I don't know how somebody would do it without that. I really don't, because I heard in meetings, I'm gonna tell y'all what I heard, because that's why I kept coming, was because I kept hearing things. I need to be in a meeting the day, and I was, the day I buried my wife. That's a fact. I was in a meeting the day I buried my brother. I left a convention here to go bury him and came back. It was in Georgia, the West End convention. They died 90 days apart. The beautiful thing about that is, if I hadn't have had y'all, I don't believe I would be here, because I'd have nowhere else to go. That's the truth. That's what Narcotics Anonymous has gave me. So if you hear anything, I hope you hear that, to keep coming back, because without this program, I'm telling you, I just know I would be where I was, if I would be alive during all that, because I can't even tell you how I like to use, because that's not even irrelevant. That is irrelevant to me, because I don't want to give that disease any credit at all, because it did nothing but take. But y'all have done so much for me, and gave and gave and gave and gave. I can't thank you enough. And so when I first came here, you know, I was on the outs with God. So I used y'all for my higher power, which was a very good thing. Y'all would say, keep coming back. You need to do 90 meetings in 90 days. And if y'all ain't heard this before, you need to hear it, because you're a newcomer. 90 meetings in 90 days. Well, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm in new ground right now, and I am a newcomer, because I'm in a part of my life where I've never been before. I ain't used no dope, but I'm still new, because I have people in my life that's not there no more that I was connected to. But I got a whole room, and I'm going to tell y'all this. I got a whole room full of people, and I ain't even hugged y'all. There's a bunch of you in here I have, but I've got to know y'all. Man, the feeling that I feel when I hug somebody that really hugs me the way that this young lady showed me how to get a hug. Whenever I was 5 years in the program, I just do one of those little slap you around the back hugs, you know. She'd come in and grab you, boy. I'll tell you something about Narcotics Anonymous. Don't y'all think y'all can have an all women's meeting? You can't do it. This old boy shows up. I'm telling you right now, I show up. That girl that hugged me, she gave me that hug, and I said, I'm going to her celebration. She celebrated 11 years. I was there just a couple of weeks ago. I needed to be there, because I needed that hug. I needed that love. I ain't looking for no relationship from her. Don't get me wrong. She's got a beautiful relationship. And trust me, I'm going to wait on my higher power to show me who the next one is that he wants me to be connected with. Because my mind and my body tells me I can find all y'all beautiful women and have a relationship with, but that's not true. That's not spiritual. You get what I'm saying? The reason I say that is because that was going on when I first was new in recovery, not with me, but with somebody else. And I despised that. Here's why. I'm a married man and been married for a long time. And I remember back when I used to do that, and that was wrong. But I was wrong for looking at him and saying, oh man, I wish you wouldn't come back and try to, you're not letting them recover. Well, so be it, whatever my reason was for having that resentment, I let all that go, because you get to work through these little things that we find that we don't like about other people. Here's your traditions. She did the steps.
Mhm.
I get to let you be you in this program of Narcotics Anonymous without running your ass off or taking you out there and beating you over the head trying to kill you. Like she said earlier, that's a little extreme, but I don't have to kill nobody today. And I'm not going to, because my higher power, first and foremost, wouldn't like what I would be doing, because he loves that person. He loves each one of you as much as he loves me. So I get to let you recover in this thing. And trust me, I ain't chasing none of y'all down, y'all beautiful women, and getting your phone number after this is over, okay? I'm not gonna do that. If you see me getting somebody's phone number, it's for a reason. She wanted to give it to me, y'all, okay? Just kidding. I have done that before, and I feel like, I want to be innocent because I have different motives today. You might be getting to come and share with us somewhere at another NA function, because we do that today as we get connected. Here's your key. Service work is what keeps me clean. It's what kept me here all these years, because as I do service, somebody come up, pat you on the back, and say, oh, I love you. Thank you for whatever, making your breakfast or making your lunch or making your dinner or whatever in the program of Narcotics. Now, some of y'all will stand up and say, he's done that. They see me do that. But the thing about it is that's just love. Unconditional, because I'm not doing that expecting something from anybody. He loved me unconditional. It's my responsibility to love anybody unconditional, not just you, but anybody and everybody. How they come into this program, love them right where they're at. That's what this program has given me. I don't have a long speech drawn out today, y'all. I can just tell you what it's done for me. And whenever I'm done, I'm done. It's over. I'll speak 10 minutes. I'll speak 5 minutes. I'll speak 2 minutes. I've seen them speak a lot less than that. But I just want you to know how much I love the program of Narcotics Anonymous, that I was willing to get up at 4 something this morning and roll around in my bed and say, well, I could doze back off and have to connect with somebody and say, I'm going to be late. That didn't happen. I laid there for a minute and woke up like I usually do and spoke with my higher power before my feet hit the ground. Trust me, I'm talking to him already. I want a safe trip here. I want a safe trip back home, but I know he's going to give that to me, because he knows we got a job to do today. We get to come to this program, this great thing that we're doing here. A bunch of us has come together to do this. This is much bigger, like I said, when I got here, than I could ever imagine. I ain't even going to see all the people here today, because I'm fixing to leave in about an hour at the most, maybe 2, because I get to go back home to be a dad to my daughter that's fixing to go to a prom. Because she said, Daddy, can I go? I done had this commitment. I was going to be here all weekend. But life has come into my life. And I get to be a dad to that girl that don't have her mama there to usher her through and show her how to be a lady. Do I know how to show her to be a lady? No, I sure don't. I'll tell you right now. But I got somebody that's going to be there, that's going to help her put that little flower on her little outfit that she's got, that beautiful dress that they wanted to dress her up in, the fingernails, the toenails, all that beautiful stuff to make her a beautiful little lady. I'm going to kill somebody. I get to go pick him up and bring him to get my daughter. Don't you think we're going to have some words? But it's going to be nice, because I'm going to get to tell him what I tell you. He ain't got to worry about death unless he does something else. But don't think I won't tell him, because I've said it a few times. My baby deserves the best.
That's right.
And if I got to go pick him up for that date and chauffeur him down there to that, whatever that place, convention center, I'm going to do my part. Because y'all taught me that I get to be a dad today. Y'all taught me I got to be a husband when it was time to be a husband to my family, to my wife, to my kids. I got 4 kids. I got a big family, y'all. But I just wonder sometimes, as I sit in these rooms in Narcotics Anonymous, because we still can make decisions to go back out and use who's next. The biggest thing in my life today is I wonder about that. And if I can say anything to convince you to stay, it's that we never have to leave Narcotics Anonymous. We never have to leave the group of people that were sitting in these rooms. This room will change the next meeting we have, and so forth and so on. But we never have to leave. We plan tomorrow for the next place I'm going to be. I plan for the next day as it comes in order. I'm planning to be somewhere. Somebody gave me that in Narcotics Anonymous. They said, if you'll make a plan to be at that out of the darkness into the light convention, sure enough, you'll stay clean till then. That's my higher power putting it into works, because I done made a commitment, y'all. I'm going back to Fun in the Sun. I was just there 2 weeks ago. Man, that higher power down there is the same higher power that's in these rooms right here. So get what you can get. Get it all, because when this thing's over, you're going to go, dang, it's over so fast. Get ready for the next one. They left with me and was like, I'm not ready to go yet. I said, you better pack them bags, because we got to go. We got to get ready for the next one we're coming to. Y'all don't understand it. Some of y'all laughing. Y'all know what we go through, because it ain't fun hugging everybody and saying goodbye. No, I don't say goodbye. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to say goodbye until I put you down the 6-foot hole down in there. And believe you me, that's not easy saying goodbye. And I don't ever want to say that to any of y'all. But we get to do that. We get to say that. Our heart puts that in his plan. It ain't my plan to pick who chooses whenever it's anybody's time to go. So that's just all I'm touching on today, y'all, because it's right here inside of me. And if you can feel that, you're in the right place. Just know that if you feel that, you can feel it for the rest of your life, because we never had to leave this program. Man, there's a lot of mean stuff happened out there when I was using dope. I promise you, you didn't pay me. You didn't like me. You didn't get your necks fixed, and you dang sure didn't get, I was coming for my money. And if it meant I had to beat you down like some of us do, we share whatever, I don't have to be that person. They want to build you up today and love on you. And just know that you never, ever have to be that person, except to get that love from this old boy right here. Because when I asked for change through them steps, it changed everything. Old behaviors don't become old behaviors until we stop doing them. So nobody's relapsed if you ain't picked up the dope after you get substantial amount of clean time. We ain't relapsed. You come in here and you quit using for a long time, then you got something to say. But guess what? Your ass is starting over again, whether you want to or not. And we always tell you, you didn't get it the first time. You don't know nothing about Narcotics Anonymous. You need to see that first blank page in that basic text and look at it. That's what I shared with some people today, because that was given to me. And I'm hard on some people, because there's some people out there that's been doing this for as long as I've been coming around. I said, boy, you ain't going to get this easy this time, because I'm going to make sure you hear from me every day. Because I let you do what you want to do, because I've seen your patterns. Old behaviors become old behaviors when we stop doing it. So you need to stop doing something. Quit sharing the way you share and start trying to listen. Just me loving on you. Maybe there's somebody needed to hear that. I don't know. But I'm just telling you what I just came through, because I told that person, I said, man, I don't want to see you next laying up there in front to be viewed. Just don't want to see that. Not because I know you had a choice, because everybody in this room has a choice today to choose life, to be free from that active addiction. And you know, that ain't an easy choice. I'm just going to tell you, because it had me so bound and wound up that I was going to go back. I was going to do this just for, court system, whatever. 9 felonies, y'all. That's what y'all helped me get free from. I have a hand to carry a gun permit today. That's what Narcotics Anonymous has gave me back. Things I never even dreamed of. Here's what we say. Old dreams awaken. because new possibilities arise in the program of Narcotics Anonymous, above and beyond anything we get. Here, take out a piece of paper and write some of this stuff down. You think you won't? I can laugh about it today because it gave me above and beyond anything that I would have ever thought of putting on that paper. Above and beyond, more than I can ask and more than I can even think of, I have today. Because all y'all are sitting here. Y'all are part of what I have today. I can love y'all. And that's a beautiful thing. I was telling him, look what a beautiful relationship that this couple's got. I'm going to find that. Because I'm still a young man. Y'all might think I'm old because I got a little bit of gray hair. But you know what? I ain't going to say that, y'all. Y'all can just go on with that if you want to. But anyway. I'm here because I love the people in Narcotics Anonymous and I don't love them in the wrong way. So, and my hat's off to all y'all for showing up today, getting up, trying to make a meeting, because we say in here, meeting makers make it. Convention makers make it, but that ain't what we say. That's a new one. That's a new one. If you get in here and you get a little bit of means to carry on in this fellowship and you start making conventions, whoo, I like to see you there. Because y'all be hollering at me wherever. Y'all know that. I'm going to make as many of these conventions as I can make. Of course, I got a life with my kids now, you know, and I get to be in their life too. So I've got to learn that balance because it can't be all about meetings every single day. It can't be all about conventions every weekend because trust me, this old addict can get addicted into many things. And I want to make a convention every weekend, y'all. I'm just telling you, which it's been okay for a little while, you know, but there's going to come a time when I'm going to have to slow down a little bit and, you know, get to try to grasp what I got to experience because I need Narcotics Anonymous right now in this trying time, you know, because if you plant a seed and it starts to grow, and we say this in our literature, that it grows best in a supporting environment. So this is a supporting environment where it gets nurtured. It gets the right amount of water, the right amount of sunlight, the right amount of step work is what we get, the right amount of how it works, the right amount of love, the right amount of hugs, because we're being supported by a support group that is nurturing and caring. We care about each other's recovery today. We love each other into this fellowship. We don't have to go out there and drag nobody. Trust me, I wanted to do it too. You can't go to those places. I can't go by that house on the last house on the block. I can't go by the one that's advertising all them bling bling signs. I can't even go to that daggum place where they got that darn stuff that they say ain't what we know it is. It's got a little bit in it, but it ain't got enough that you can't pass it. Oh, come on. That freaking stuff will take me back quicker than anything. It's just laying there silent, waiting on me to say, oh, it's okay, but it's not. Because I've learned, if you ain't learned that yet, figure out your clean date. Because we all got one. I know one thing that y'all taught me, mine never has to change. It's always going to be the same. And I tell you why I picked that day. Because I was married for 15 years. And I took my wife on a cruise. Man, they had more than I could drink. But I wasn't going to tell them that. I was going to prove them, you know. Anyway, that's when I ruined my anniversary. And I said, man, oh man, when I came in that night, I'll never forget it. She said, boy, I hope you had a good time. That sucked. And it did for the next few days too, because it sure didn't feel good trying to get over something like that. So, not giving that disease any credit, but it will take you out. It'll lay there while you're sleeping. It'll lay there while you're awake. It'll sleep while you're awake. It will constantly be there. That's why we need Narcotics Anonymous. I don't have to sell you on Narcotics Anonymous, those of you that's been here a while. But if I could say anything to the newcomer, if there's some out there, I usually get them to try to raise their hand, but I just want you to know that we will love you like nobody else will. If you don't want what we have and you want to go back out, we always say we will refund you your misery. And if that don't get you, I always say that while you're out there using, I don't mind a bit, but while you're out there doing your thing, I promise you that you will not stop thinking about us, because we will mess you up in the proper words, because I got a few words I could specify a little bit, but I'm trying not to throw all them words out there, y'all. So let's live life today to its fullest, because all we got's today. Because I ain't promising nobody tomorrow, but with that, chances are if I put in today, I'm going to get something back out for tomorrow. So I love each and every one of y'all. And thank you for allowing me to be here again and being a part of my recovery, because I need every one of y'all, because I got a load to carry. That's all I got.
Time to share. If you would like to share, you can come step to the side. If you want to be on camera, you can step behind them and raise your hand if you want to share. I don't want to be on camera.
I'm Rhiannon, I'm an addict.
Hey, Rhiannon.
I just want to say, I'm grateful for being in a meeting convention on Narcotics Anonymous. And I'm grateful because two of those people sitting there right now are, mean the world to me. You know, like my higher power, my God put these two people in my life.
Love you, Ray.
That have helped keep me clean, that helped bring a new light in my life. So you know, again, like we were saying at breakfast this morning, right? Like my God, our God works in mysterious ways, and just how He placed two very important people together that have a very strong higher power and message to bring right here, right now. And thank you for coming. Parrish, thank you for coming all the way down, you know, from Tennessee, just to, even for these couple hours, just to be here, to be present. I just want to say thank you, right? Like, you know, through the grace of God and the power and the, you know, the power of the program, right? Like, well, I'd say I woke up with 2 blessings, but I never went to sleep. But you know, like I always say, usually, like, you know, I woke up with 2 blessings today, and so did you. Both of our eyes open. So thank you all for speaking. Thank you for being of service.
I love you, man.
Thank you both for saving my life every day.
Yes.
Thank
I love you, honey. Love you right back. Thank you.
Definitely got more clean time than I got. I slept 5 hours ago.
I'm Kat. I'm an addict.
Hey, Kat.
Thank you both for sharing and just for sharing your experience. And this particular workshop for this convention means a lot to me because it's really been weighing heavy on me, and I can relate to everything that y'all shared. You know, when I came in here, I automatically translated that word higher, or the phrase higher power, to God, because if you kept reading in the steps, you know, they kind of trickled that word in there, and I wanted nothing to do with that. I wanted nothing to do with that. And then it was pointed out to me that I was acting like God. I believed that I was God throughout my whole life, and I was fucking that up.
Right.
All the things that I tried to come up with to do were just some kind of scheme or form of manipulation to get what I thought I wanted. And it wasn't until I guess, I mean, obviously surrendered to this process and allowed other influences in my life to go to work that I was able to see where that change could happen. And I'm just really grateful for this program being designed around a higher power. Like, as I understand it, because like at the time, as I
Mhm.
understand it at the time, you know, I've wanted to act like, and it's in our literature too, you know, I'm not responsible for understanding how and why everything happens the way it does, just to let it happen. But I acted that way. I lived that way. I lived in denial and frustration and anger, until I finally gave up trying to just play God in my life. And, you know, the very first thing I came to understand as a higher power was just as simple as like that little voice that's like, yo, grab your umbrella. Like right now, grab your umbrella. And I'm out here like, absolutely not. I'm not going to do this because I know better than any other thing in my life. And then, you know, 6 hours later, I'm standing there like wet on the sidewalk because I know better. And I know that's like a really, really small example, but I spent a very long time trying to prove that little voice like in my head wrong. You know, the one that's trying to like guide me towards something better than what I want for myself. And that's the first way I came to understand it. And like that's developed like over time, but you know, I think it was like my 6th day in treatment, you know, 4 day or 8 days out of jail that worked for me. That worked for me that day. And so that gives me a lot of like belief in this concept of like, as I understand that. So that's how I understood him then 3 years ago. You know, the way I understand my higher power today is different than it was then. Thank God, you know, because I can continue to like receive this guidance from that power in my life. And, you know, throughout the steps, it brings up addiction 1 time. And it brings up a higher power, what, 4 times specifically, like in the steps. That took me a few years to like wrap my head around too. You know, this program, we all know a lot about addiction, but like this program is about recovery.
Sure.
And I'm grateful for this program. I'm so grateful for you guys, and thanks for letting me be of service.
Thanks, Kat.
Yeah, Tony wants to share.
Yeah, you did.
Yay, Tony!
Bring it to us.
Hey guys, thank you guys for sharing and share experience with your relationship with your higher power and some of the impact it's had in your life and your recovery. It's definitely been my experience in my journey. You know, I came here, I guess that, you know, my journey with learning about having a spiritual awakening, you know, and how it's the trust and the relationship with my higher power today. You know, it's odd for me sometimes when I think about that relationship and how it's where it's at today. You know, I don't necessarily ask why God anymore. It's more like, what do I need to do? You know, it's more of a you know, I guess there's a few times I've had like when, like, you know, when I lost my mother, there was a part where I was like, why is this happening? You know, but the reality of it is that life is life. And, you know, this morning, it's funny, I was, as I was trying to do some exercising and I was feeling my age, and I started reflecting upon, yeah, I started reflecting upon end of life issues and about how, you know, my father is towards the end of his life, and you know, and I was kind of wondering where he was at and how he was dealing with, you know, as his heart's beginning to fail, and I thought about how I would deal with that and how I would face that point in my life when, you know, I'm looking at the end of my own life. And I started thinking about my relationship with God and where I'm at, you know, and it did not, I think this is what I want to share. There was a hope and a faith that when I come to that point, I'll have some acceptance of where I'm at in my life. And that is some of the things the program has given me, is being able to accept when things are happening in my life that are beyond my control, and they're, you know, and being able to just let go and allow my higher power to guide me, to listen to my spirit, and to open my eyes. I had a sponsor tell me one time, you know, whenever I'm full of fear, I'm full of doubt, I don't know what to do, look down at my feet, you know, because that's where I'm at. And then look up and look around me, you know, because there's my solution. And, you know, and I know that today because, you know, it's like I get, because I don't have a lot of things blocking me like I used to, with my, my self-centeredness for the most part is not dominant in my life anymore. I'm able to see the next right thing. I'm able to intuitively know how to handle things, and for me, that's where it comes about in higher power, is the walking in grace and walking with God. And sometimes it's difficult, but here's the thing, y'all, I can't do this alone. None of us can do this alone. We learned our second step that we need powers greater than ourselves to help restore us to sanity, the group, the program, and God. And when I have those all in my life, I'm pretty fucking awesome, dude. And I say that from humility, because I really do believe that. I'm not, and I like who I am today. I love who I am today. And I love the fact that I get to, from the other side of the world, get on a fucking Georgia regional convention and get a little bit of home, it's a little bit of love. Because, I'll tell you what, it's definitely an interesting thing that God's got me doing today. That's for sure. But thank you guys very much for sharing. I really enjoyed hearing your share and appreciate it. All the hugs and loves out there. You guys enjoy your time. Love you.
We love you, Tony.
We love you. Great service.
Yes.
All right, my name's Jay. I'm an addict.
Hey, Jay.
I'm actually here at this resort because the company I work for has a 3-week training. And down Vermont, I live in Vermont. And I said, where am I gonna go? What meetings can I go to? I looked on my phone before I left. I'm a member at AA. And then 2 days ago, I was having lunch at the 17th of this convention. I had to make a decision to turn my will. But I forget that something else is in control. Even when I was drunk and using drugs, something else was still in control. Now I can see it. Right now I can look back. I don't know what he's gonna do next. Obviously, I don't know. You people are all a miracle to me. So
We love you.
thank you so much.
We love you. Welcome.
My name's Joanne.
Hey, Joanne.
Sorry that I didn't get to hear you speak. I was at the HNI thing. But I do want to share about coming into Narcotics Anonymous and having a God of my misunderstanding, growing up with a punishing God, thinking that Narcotics Anonymous was a cult when I first got here. And through sponsorship steps in this program and other addicts, my definition of a higher power, my relationship with a higher power, the belief that I have today has totally changed. And it has changed in the process of working the steps and doing the steps of our program. And my favorite line is in the second step. It talks about how the pain of living life on life's terms forces us. The word force is not a gentle word. It's a powerful word. It's a word of something having no choice. In my active addiction, I had no choice but to continue using because I needed to get another one. And in Narcotics Anonymous, I got to a place where I had no choice but to seek a loving and caring higher power, because the pain of living life is what took me to the drugs to begin with. I couldn't live life on life's terms, and so I used to escape. So it's very clear to me today through, especially a second step of coming to believe and a third step of turning my will and my life over. And why would I give my will and my life over to anything that wasn't loving and caring?
That's right.
You know, and it's really funny because it says in the second step that, oh, we can't move on until we have this understanding. And it says when our belief has grown, we're ready to move forward. No, I was left, it's not about whether we answered all the questions and the step writing guy and calling our sponsor saying, hey, I finished answering all the questions. No, it's like, it's about an internal process.
That's right.
It's taking it and applying those things in my life that has changed my belief, the operation of my higher power, and even to an 11th step of understanding that God had a plan for my life, and I seek out his will and I live that plan out every day I stay clean. None of us can live out God's plan without staying clean and working this recovery program. You know, and if you don't have a loving and caring God, then I encourage you to come and see me afterwards and I can introduce you. Thank you.
That's right.
Thanks, Joanne.
My name's Gina, I'm an addict.
Hey, Gina.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I was reading the JFT this morning and it just goes along with this workshop. And I met a friend outside who said, my friend is Sharon, go to this workshop. So we came in.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you both for your service. You shared so beautifully and touched my heart. And I just love it. And so the JFT today says God does for us. Ongoing recovery is dependent on our relationship with a loving God who cares for us and will do for us what we find impossible to do for ourselves. You know, when I got here and I woke up to recovery, I found out that I was being a parent to 4 teenage drug addicts. You know, I'd come home and there'd be car stereos and shit. And it was, you know,
Right.
And it was really almost impossible to stay clean through that. You know, and I would get pissed off, like, I'm the only motherfucker staying clean, what? I'm going back out, you know. Y'all can kiss my ass, but I was their mom. And I've never really been a mom to them. You know, I've been strung out for 10 years and I taught them how to roll their first joint. I taught them how to do that shit. And now I want them to change just because I'm changing.
That's right.
But the God of my understanding, who has carried me when I couldn't walk, who has held my hand and gave me you guys, gave me people, women who taught me how to be a mom to these kids, men who taught me how to be a dad to these kids and to walk through their processes with them, you know, and it's been one hell of a journey. And I've still got, I mean, I've got a daughter, my oldest daughter, who ever since I got clean some 24 hours ago, she's still ravaged by the disease of addiction, and she's been Narcan so many times. You know, we had to do an intervention last week. That shit don't work. They can be prayed over, analyzed, locked up, beaten, counseled, and that we are not gonna get it until we want it.
Yeah.
So I just have to ask you guys, if when we do the moment of silence this weekend, will you just think about her?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
that moment of silence that you guys have done, you know, that NA has given us since 1953, you know, catapulted my ass into the room. And I know that it will catapult her ass in here too. You know, I got a son who's doing his 9th tour through the Missouri Department of Corrections, but he has 5 and did he say 5.5 last night? 5.5 months clean. God, you know, there's not a lot of clean people in that prison today. And he's like, who do I talk to? What do I do? You know, and so I've been trying to figure out how to hook him up with writing steps for recovery. So if anybody's got any experience, strength, and hope on that, you know, catch me outside. But you know, thank you for sharing. Thank you for inviting God into this workshop. workshop this morning and I felt his presence and I feel this love and this peace that we get when we come into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. So I love and need every single one of you. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing. Glad to hear that.
For sure.
Hey, Megan. Hi, beautiful. Good morning.
There you go.
Good morning, my name is Megan, grateful recovering addict.
Hey, Megan.
I decided to show up for my recovery and talk about this disease I have. Kim, that was the first big hug I had when I first came into the rooms. And I'm like, I tell her this all the time, but I had to say something else, that I really didn't spend as much time developing that relationship because I just felt like I'm not good enough. I have affirmations to tell me I'm good enough. I have it on my phone. I'm trying to practice them. But my higher power has you here. And you keep showing up.
Bad dreams.
And you keep loving me.
That's right.
You've been quiet. And I'm like, scared. You still love me.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, Parrish, I don't know you that well, but that was my camp out experience, my first camp out.
Right.
And he's like the head honcho camping.
Head honcho camping.
He knows about that butt, that pork butt. It's great. My higher power has me in the right place. And I give thanks to Narcotics Anonymous.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, girl, Missouri.
Yeah.
Everyone in here. Bo James. Jeff. All right, that's all I got.
Hey.
We're all up. True great by the pioneers there. Hey. Come on. Maybe I'm gonna say it. First of all, fine. I don't know what's going on. It's a high power right there. True great, I found that's that you. Cause I remember when I had you, I had no other choice. I think my higher power for that and fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. A lot of good people pray. I had a choice. All through grace, mercy, my higher power. I had been to a beat. I had been no. When we talk about higher power, I was thinking, you know, when I first came around with Narcotics Anonymous, I started losing a lot of people. Moment died, brother died. I'm bad. I'm serious angry with him. I get clean, everybody die. And I went to see you. You know, I fear her. I thought I really had to free my mother's death. And, I went to place. Free. They had this one thing. I say you want to leave. I met a friend there, so confident. I told him, I said, you know, I've been in the treatment a lot of times. I got people. What he told? Oh, I mean, Albany, Georgia, I was in Mexico, I was living in prison at the time. Yeah. Went to prison that morning, told me, hey, I was coming back to you. Told know me, or most people that need this program, they usually be. At business, I use it. I'll show me something, that he was with me through all of that, you know. And like the lady was saying before, that my concept of who my higher power, I had this God that gave me stuff. But my whole concept of higher power has changed over the years. You know, God is, for me, is good for me. He guides me through that. He guides me. And I always wanted to be on top of things, control things. They don't have control of anything. You know, I got kids that use, I got grandkids that use. I'm trying to explain to them, you know, who I was. They think I don't know, but they never see me. They never know me. You know, how you gonna tell me how they don't know how to use way more drugs, and if they stop, then they can help them.
Yeah.
The part about how far he died, we get my name in life. And if you knew, and you hear, your concept is changing. Wow, it's all of that.
Yeah.
You know, God, like the lady was saying, you know, please let him be loving care. You got a God that's gonna get you. You really can. You need somebody, you need a God that loves, cares, the spirit to help guys to do things. That's right. And I thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your service. You know, it takes a lot to do that. You know, time, with family, you know.
Hey, Greg.
I want to thank everybody who shared. I want to thank our workshop speakers. As our 11th tradition states, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than approach. We can always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Primary purpose of the public relations effort is to tell the story of Narcotics Anonymous and what our program offers to the still suffering addict. Members of the press are often attracted to our convention, and we welcome their interest. However, we do not disclose our last names in the media as identifiable members of Narcotics Anonymous. If members of the press approach you, please direct them to a member of the convention planning panel, board of directors, or the public relations subcommittee. Smoking is only allowed in the designated smoking areas. If you have any questions on where to find these areas, please see a member of the convention planning panel. These members can be identified by a blue committee ribbon on their shirts. I believe there's also raffle tickets. Still, raffle tickets are still for sale. Entertainment, and can you still buy your banquet tickets? All right. All right. Let's circle up and close with the lead version of the Serenity Prayer. Those joining us online are invited to unmute there and join in the prayer as well.
Come on, guys. Hey, we don't bite.
Come on.
She's biter.
Oh, I guess that's me. Have a moment. There's still sick and suffering inside and outside the room. We versus 24. God.
Grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, or to change the things we can.
Wisdom to know the difference
We love you, Tony.
Hey, guys. Hey, Lonnie.
Love you, Fred, miss you. Oh, I think it's on the computer.
No, it's that camera right there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, right there.
Oh. Love you, Tony. I love you.
Hey, Amber. Love you guys.
Okay, so did you miss it? Oh, I was like, I was so nervous. I didn't know what was happening, so I shut up.